Hi, I'm Gucci,
And I'm Khai.
and welcome to the Bender Better podcast.
This is your ultimate guide to surviving, thriving, and absolutely vibing within festival culture.
Welcome to the show.
This is our first little intro. How cute!
Yeah, we fucking killed it!
We're doing it!
Yeah.
This has been a bit of a long time coming. We finally got things in the works, and we're ready to chat about everything festivaling.
Yeah, I mean...
So when it comes to making this podcast, I've been thinking about it a lot, and you wouldn't go to a doctor's office without understanding their credentials and seeing what they're actually capable of doing. You wouldn't want medical advice from someone that doesn't know their shit.
You don't want someone that's on their first rodeo to be telling you what to do.
Especially in the medical field. So what we want to do with this first episode is just kind of talk about our festival experience, different things that we've learned from those experiences, different festivals that we've
100%.
been to. We want to share our experience with you so you can better understand where our advices are coming from. So with that being said, I think it might be really fun for us to chat about what was your first ever festival and what was that experience like? Because it is a whole thing where
100%.
You'll have a friend that brings you into rave culture, or you'll stumble upon it in some way, and sometimes it's a magical story, and I know you have one of those.
Yeah, so the first time my first massive or festival was EDC 2012. I had just gone to my first show. It was Above and Beyond at the Shrine, and my friend was just like, hey, you gotta come to this show, and honestly, you got to take those chances, because sometimes you never get that chance. Sometimes you don't have that cool friend to be like, hey, let me take you this. It's really fun. And you just ride along and you don't know what's going to happen, and it might change your life forever. So that friend, his name is Alex. He's kind of like my rave dad, but we're always close. He took me to EDC 2012. We're like, let's go. We've always heard about it. I didn't really know too much about it. And we were staying with some friends, and the first festival, we got there Thursday night. We're just like, let's get there early, and we're out on the strip. We didn't have a hotel, and his friends that we were staying with didn't even show up till Friday morning. That's when their hotel was booked.
So already your first festival experience was like a whirlwind in itself.
A whirlwind. We were broke. We broke community college students that didn't have any extra money besides what we wanted to go just for the event,
And so you had never been to a rave before. Have you been to a rave before?
I have never been to a rave before. I've been to a show at the Shrine, but that's
it's different.
It's 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then you just drive back home,
But
so
this was your first weekend festival.
3-day bender where I had no idea what was going to happen. You watch the EDC trailer and you're like, oh, that looks really tight. It's like, oh, they're, girls in all that candy and bralettes, and they're dancing in the sunshine, and the marketing's good. They're just like, I didn't really have that much electronic music influence up until that time. I was listening to K-pop and rock. So we show up, we're partying on the strip, drinking fucking Honey Jack whiskey, drinking out of the bottle, and eventually we're just so tired. We didn't even get that much sleep that night because we were trying to sleep, and you valet your car, so you can't even sleep in your car. We should have just taken the car and just drove it somewhere, slept there, but we were just sleeping on those little couches, and it was just this is rough. But we were I was 20 at the time, so it was okay. And the friends that he was going, we hooked up with them once they checked into our hotel. We're a little sleep deprived and shit, And, we go to EDC, and these friends had been to EDC before. They didn't give us any advice. They didn't give us any better tips on going to EDC Vegas. And EDC Vegas is a really beautiful event. But because of how the strip and the city is built, and how we didn't get in till 11:30 that night, and then we didn't get into the fucking festival until I think 1, because of all the traffic, because there's always those people that only start partying at 11 o'clock. EDC opens at fucking 5 p.m. so it's dusk to dawn. So
wait, let me stop you.
Stop me.
So with your first festival, you just mentioned that you didn't have much EDM influence whatsoever. What music were you listening to beforehand?
I was listening to K-pop, I was listening to like alt rock from the early 2000s. My first concert was a Jonas Brothers concert.
Love it.
You know, like I went
Love
with my
it.
sisters. I was like, you know, Disney kid. I've always been about like doing praise team in church, and I was always very vocally influenced. Like so, melodies and vocals
Totally.
that tell a story are always my forte.
So that was kind of your space. And then you
Correct.
had this friend of yours bring you to EDC.
Correct.
So coming from a space where you've never been to a festival before, I'm sure you've like heard of festivals prior. Did it meet your expectations? Like when you walked into that festival, like what were those feelings? Like how did you react to that space?
It like blew my mind because before that, like I think what's the biggest thing I've ever done before that? I can't even like a concert or
Well, that's
like
the thing. Festivaling changes your
the
life.
thing is like the Shrine show with Above and Beyond doing their group therapy tour, that blew my mind. I was like hooked, like seeing the confetti go off, and like I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Like prelude going off with the confetti and like just the whole atmosphere and the whole community and the crowd that came along with like trance music and that lovely like just uplifting energy. It was something I really needed in my life at the time because I was kind of a little bit lost. And so going into EDC, like walking down the stairway, seeing the whole freaking what do they call it, the raceway filled with like rides and blinking lights and there's like 5 stages blaring music at you and you know it gave me like such a like, oh, this is a whole fucking new world where anything's possible.
Just
you know?
absolute stars in your eyes.
Stars in my eyes. I was just, you know, I had like that baby raver EDC outfit, you know.
So cute.
And honestly, it was quite like life changing. And you know, I want to ask you because I think you were mentioning before your first festival was what?
So I have like an interesting, my experience with festivaling is very interesting. There is no like one first festival that I can really say.
Yeah.
Because my first festival was FYF. I don't know if you remember
I've heard of
Fuck
FYF.
Yeah Fest. Tinder date, terrible. I hope he never watches this. Terrible, terrible date. I blacked out before even walking into that festival, but that was like, I had been to like concerts and shows, like a one venues type thing.
Yeah.
That was my first major like multiple stage festival, but also like I grew up in Wisconsin, and every August they have what's called Summerfest, and it was labeled as like the United States biggest like #1 festival for a while. It has like 8 or 9 different stages, but it's all like country music, indie artists. It's not like EDM. So I grew up with like a festival type of space, but not within like EDM culture.
Yeah.
Then did Fuck Yeah Fest. I did Camp Flog Gnaw, that's more like
a 2-day festival.
2-day festival,
You go
more
in.
of a carnival, hip hop, rap artists. It's like by Tyler the Creator. So then, yes, festival space, but still not the EDM culture.
Correct.
And then I went to a festival in Vietnam called We're Loud, and that was punk festival on a boat off the coast in Vietnam. It was the punkest shit, like you're in the middle of a mosh pit. So again, like, festival experience, not the same culture. So then...
It has its own culture. Like, going each one-to-one, like, there is still a community. There is still, like, the overwhelming sense of community and the human experience.
Absolutely. And I still want to be able to, because this is about festivaling as a whole, like within this podcast. So I do want to be able to talk about those different cultures. So it's awesome that I was able to experience We're Loud and what that looks like. But then I do still consider like my first festival to be EDC. Because it's like the punk shows that I went to, like, sure, I've experienced that in LA. Fuck Yeah Fest.
Yeah.
I've been drunk like that at shows before. Like, EDC was the first time that I walked into a space and I was like, wow, this is a whole new world. You know?
I do.
And then also, like, the immersion into EDM culture, it kickstarted, like, the next so many years of my life now.
Right. Yeah. 12 years later 13 years now, because we're in 2025.
Yeah.
13 years later now for me.
I think it's 5 years for me. So I'm still on the baby end, but I've definitely been in, about, and around.
Yeah, and just the more times you go to a festival, the better you should be getting at it. And, that's the reason I wanted to start this podcast is with COVID and all these interruptions to our party spaces, there was always a stream of like downward knowledge being given down when I started. There was like rave wizards, and I was always the youngest person in my friend group, and
there's always a role in the family.
Correct. Yeah, it rolls down, and it should be a downward stream of consciousness. And I think there was a big interruption between the COVID years, and now we have Generation Z coming in to the festival world, and and there's different levels to how people party. There's people that party to escape life. There's people that party to enjoy it. This is their community. There's other people, it's their first time. They may or may not be here 10 years down the line. And so I think it's always interesting to really facilitate that. And, I saw a vacuum in the podcast world, because right now it's like, there's a lot of podcasts on health, there's podcasts on everything else, but I didn't see a single podcast on festivals.
Yeah, and it's such a vast culture. Like we were just talking about, there are things like Fuck Yeah Fest that existed. There's Flogna. There is We're Loud, like punk festivals. There's EDM festivals. It's all different cultures. But what we're trying to accomplish here is teach people how to bender better.
Yeah.
How to be able to push and pull with different types of people in the same space.
To interact with people, to grow your communities, to grow like your dance moves, to grow your spiritual development, to grow, like, these are very powerful human experiences that people that just go about their 9-to-5 jobs and just go out to a bar or a club, they're not getting that euphoric kind of interaction. And so it's so powerful that and when you're getting, like, we go to Burning Man now. I mean, this is going to be your third burn.
My third burn, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be my fifth burn, and we run a Burning Man camp now, and it's, taking people at Burning Man is like another level of everything. And even when I go to like a rave or a show, you could see who's a little bit uncomfortable in the scene. You could see where people are just a little bit like, just not, they haven't got their reps in. And where, like, I was at Cross Festival 2 weeks ago, and I'm just like looking good, dressing up, and I'm just going from one station to another. I'm coming out of the crowd, and some random guy, don't know him, never seen this guy in my life. He's like, "Oh, come take a picture with me," and I'm just like, "What? I don't know you, dude." I'm like,
but also, why not?
I was in a rush to leave my friends. So I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
But then he was like, "Oh, can't you just take a picture with me?" I was just like, "Oh, fuck it, why not?" And it was like, "What's that?"
Yeah, so that's one of the types of things that I want to be able to talk about within this podcast is like that push and pull of human interaction.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a bartender here in LA. The push and pull of human interaction is bullshit. I'm behind the bar, people yap at me, or poke and prod about me and my life and pick me apart. It's very aggressive. There is no push and pull. It's like, it's just aggressive. And that's why I've come to love festivaling so much, because of the flow and the push and pull of human interaction. So the experience that you just said that you had, of this person taking the chance to, like, just do something bold, come take a photo with me. And you having the choice to accept or reject. Yeah. Either you can accept, take the photo, hell yeah. But also the rejection. If you don't want to take the photo, don't take the damn photo. And the guy that asks should not feel any type of way either way. So that push and pull of just allow people to come as they are, allow people to accept and reject, and also stop being afraid of that rejection. That is something that festivals teach 100%. Us so quickly.
It teaches you how to be really social and really just strike up a conversation next to someone that you're dancing to sometimes. I was just in the crowd and just dancing by myself. Like, I had nobody, like, my friends were off buying merch, and I was just like, I'm here for the music right now, and I was just like throwing it down, and I was just like
I love
just
it.
getting down on the dance floor, just wiggling, shaking my booty chakra, and just like fucking having a good time and just vibing by myself. But in my peripherals, I'm watching other people just like check me out. They're like, oh, that guy's vibing, and like I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always down to dance with them, anybody. Like, and it's because like there's the variety of demographics in a rave. It really feels like we all become one, like one class. Like, like there's no VIP. If you can always get VIP, you can always get like backstage, but those don't really like the real most epic moments are right in the middle of the dance floor, right between those two speakers, and like the music's just hitting your body full on. You're feeling it in your cells, and that's really where and being authentic and I had a really jaded experience with Cross because like back in 2019 the festival tickets were cheaper, so coming back into going back and giving Cross another chance, and now the tickets are a little bit more pricey, but because they're pricier, they really just brought in the right people, the people that go to festivals, the people that are there for the music. And I thought that was really like I had the fucking blast time of my life. I was just cutting shapes through crowds and like
that's such a statement in itself because within festival culture it really teaches you to just try something. If it doesn't work, try again. Try it in a different way.
Exactly.
So you tried Cross.
Yeah,
It didn't work out.
It was a different situation. I went with like a girlfriend. She couldn't handle her stuff, and I had to take care of her, and that's not fun for anybody. Like that's why we're making this podcast, so that you don't have to be babysat. Nobody has to take care of you. You should be radically self-reliant, and be meet up with your friends, but also be willing to make new friends on the dance floor.
I think we're both just really excited about this community and this space.
Yeah.
And I think that we really want to share that with as many people as possible, but share how to do it in a way that's safe for you, safe for other people, and how to have more fun while being efficient.
Yeah, being efficient, like planning your exit strategy when you're at a festival, because everyone plans. Oh, how are we getting there? Uber, blah, walking. Are we driving and parking our car and going and pre-gaming in the parking lot? Or everyone plans the beginning part, but no, not enough people plan their exit strategy and be like, oh, what time do you want to leave, person I came with? And like, oh, are you okay leaving early so we miss all the rush? Do you want to stay till the last beat because you want to experience every single second of it? Like there's different levels of where people want to party. Are you going to leave when it starts raining? So
definitely we're going to be able to take the time to pick apart certain topics, and we'll pick apart these things one by one per podcast episode. We're also really excited to bring in some guest stars to talk about some things.
Yeah.
We have a few nurses within our guild. We have a ton of different DJs,
festival promoters. I want to bring in experts in wellness, yoga, spirituality,
fire spinning, flow toy work, bartenders, like project management as a whole.
The whole community has so many different people that are so skilled in their own craft, and I think it's so valuable to hear different stories of how they got into raving, how they what brought them into the scene, what how they became better at what they did, and the little tips and tricks I pick up because I now work festivals as a photographer, and so I meet photographers that work way more festivals than me. I work with photographers that it's their first time shooting a festival, and so I love being that guide that they're like, oh, I'm not sure about this shot. I love being able to pass on that. That's a good shot, but maybe like edit it this way, or like oh, I see your thought process there, or like pacing yourself or something. There's so many because it gets away with you. It gets away from you. There's like a difference from working a festival and having a good time doing it, and going to a festival and just having fun. The stark difference. And I've seen photographers and videographers that don't understand that differentials, and they don't get hired again, or they burn out too easily. And it's all about how you mentally prepare for it, how you physically prepare for it, and how you really attack the situation as it comes at you.
Totally. So in whatever way that you want to participate in festival culture, whether it's you want to attend, whether you're a videographer, whether you want to try and bartend it, whether you're a flow
Volunteer.
artist or a DJ, we're hoping to be able to shed some light on those spaces.
Yeah. And
here on Bender Better.
the Bender Better podcast.
Yeah.
Where we're just educating the youth and spreading knowledge, because, you know, there's also people that only go to a festival once or twice a year, and, you know, they get a little rusty, or they maybe might have gone with people that don't know how to party well, or don't really think about the collective group effort, you know. Like recently I was just in San Diego, and this girl had been invited to an LCD Sound System show, and by some dude she was dating or whatever, and they were taking shrooms, and they really didn't know each other well enough. And when you're on the psychedelics, it kind of confuses things. And so she had this whole misconstrued situation where she was like, oh, he was degrading me, he was kind of just like pushing me, like he wouldn't walk me to the bathroom, and like he didn't care about me, even though it was just them two at this show. So she felt very abandoned and very very just frantic in that situation. I can't believe he left me, kind of Jurassic Park kind of moment. And yes, I see her side of the story, but I also see the other side of the stories where you didn't text him like, oh, I'm done with the bathroom, where are you? Or like I believe he told her verbatim, oh, go to the bathroom, I'll be right here. But he had also done this weird thing where he was just like, oh, I just told you I have to wait for my friend right here. And, you know, miscommunications all about.
There's
and
usually a lot of miscommunications when there's certain psychedelics involved.
Correct.
Navigating that is a whole conversation.
That's a whole conversation. And that's a whole episode right there in itself. And it's like also, but it's also being a gentleman is like, say we go to a show, I'm going to walk you to the bathroom and just wait outside, even if I don't have to go. Or it's even better if you coordinate and be like, oh, she's going pee, let me go pee. And so you guys don't have this separation of like, you're out of flow, you know? There's nothing worse than, oh, you're going to a show, I need to go bathroom, so I go bathroom, you're waiting for me because you didn't go pee. And then we go into the crowd, and then like halfway through, like the 30 minutes, you're like, I gotta go pee, and then you drag me out. You know, that's just like that's an inefficient way to do things. So, you know, it was just a interesting little like microcosm to watch this girl just freak out.
Yeah, so I think that's a definite reminder to communicate with each other beforehand about these types of things. Is the group sticking together? Mm-hmm. Are we down for people to go their separate ways? Are we going to make pee stops in between stages? Are we traveling as a group? These are really good reminders to coordinate with your friends so that you're not dealing with it when you're a little tipsy.
Little sweeties.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're back. Just take a little breather. So I think it's important that we, list all the festivals that we've gone to. I mean, I've been to clubs and countless parties at this point, house parties, burn parties, renegades, and that's the like. So I really want to know, what festivals have you gone to, Khai?
Yeah, so I mentioned
You mentioned
earlier,
a lot earlier.
I mentioned earlier I did FYF, Camp Flog-Gnaw. I also did Desert Days. We're Loud in Vietnam. And then I went to EDC. Mm-hmm. Then I've also done several Insomniac events. I've done a Countdown. I've done Dream State. I did Envision in Costa Rica with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also done Burning Man. Then also there's the Bombay Beach Biennale, mm-hmm. which is like kind of a festival. It's like
it's like a city kind of consortium. And
of sorts.
Like kind of like a city party, I feel, right?
I don't think city party is the right word. City party is not the right word. Very cool community, very mm-hmm. desert community vibes. Yeah, I think I think that's most all the festival type things I've been to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What about you?
I've done the Insomniac circuit. I grew up, like, after EDC, I did, like, Nocturnal, Escape, Beyond. I've done countdowns. I kind of branched out from there. Started, like, kind of honing in on my music tastes a little bit more. I was very big on trance growing up in the scene, just emotional, just banging music. But I started going to house events and house music. So I started going to Desert Hearts, Dirty Bird. Uh, Northern Nights is one of the first festivals I've worked on a media team. And what else? I did the Oregon Eclipse Festival back in 2017. I also recently did the Texas one there. I was in Amsterdam doing Luminosity Beach Festival. I did like 4 of those. That just has really good old school trance vibes. And then I started working with Envision back around 2019, and that's in Costa Rica. That's a very spirituality, wellness based festival. I've done High Vibes. I've shot for Totality Festival. They're not around anymore. Afternoon Umbrella Friends. Trying to think about all of Lightning in a Bottle.
Many
Festivals. Like and like as a participant for a lot of the growing early stages, and just going with my rave family, staying at timeshares or booking party buses, and then as I was growing in the trance community, I was working events over at Garage Gallery, and that was like a little art gallery, but it was thrown by Intricacy Nights, and they bring trance artists, and it'd be like maybe 200 people party in like a art gallery warehouse space. And so that's where I grew up and really honed my skills as a photographer, because shooting events is a really hard space because it's really dark. And so you either use flash or natural lighting, or you just trying to find where you can get your best pictures. And it really, like, growing up working at Spin and Avalon, Exchange LA, all these local LA clubs, and it built a lot of my repertoire of like, you're here to work, show up for your gig, but also like once you're done, and this is something that bothers me a little bit with the some of my coworkers in the scene, they just go straight to editing, and I'm just like, it's not that urgent sometimes. Like if the artist is paying you extra to edit it right after it's done so they can post up, sure, do it, get that extra bag. But there's a part of this industry where you can become too much like work, and it loses its magic.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always tried to hold on to, and just always have a good time. And then I'll go back, I'll work my ass off, edit it, and try to get them their content as soon as possible.
Sure.
And so I've worked in capacity with a lot of these festivals, Northern Nights, LIB. I've worked for artists at EDC. I've worked with multiple at the festival level. And so you're working off shot lists. You're working on their marketing team, basically, trying to capture moments and capture marketable material so that they can sell their festival better next year. And so, I think I have 5 burns. I'm trying to think, what else have I? Yeah, I've been around.
Many festivals.
Many festivals. And
so with that being said, you've had 13 years, you said?
13 years now.
13 years in running in the game. Of all of these festivals that you've been to, what festival would you recommend someone go to for the first time?
For the first time, I would recommend the Insomniac Circuit's a really good place to really start your festival careers. It's going to give you a wide variety of different types of music. The Insomniac Circuit is where I grew up, and it made me who I am today. And I think, Dream State, I've shot Dream State a bunch of times. Sorry. But, it's just, it's such a wide conglomerate of music that you can really kind of figure out, I like this style, or I like this style.
Yeah.
And it'll give you that kind of repertoire of finding music, and then you'll add it to your Spotify playlist, and you'll kind of deep dive and see who's popular also on the sides of those.
Yeah, I would definitely highly recommend EDC, for
EDC.
one of your first type of festivals. And the reason why is because at EDC there are several different stages, and each stage is based within a genre. So Bass Pod is all bass music. Wasteland is all hardstyle. Neon Garden, house music. Like
Neon Garden's more like techno.
Techno, some house.
Some house.
I saw Blondish there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like,
and there's a different variety of like when a set list
and
is
what's
built.
the trance stage?
Quantum Valley.
Quantum Valley is trance.
And then Circuit Grounds is more big room house.
And then
Kinetic Field is their main stage for big room.
What's the major house one?
It's like Kinetic Stage, Circuit Ground, Cosmic Meadow.
No, there's another one. I can see it in my head. The housey one. Fuck. Fuck.
They're all like Circuit Ground plays house. But it's more like the bigger artists like John Summit and Dom Dalla. They have like, at this point there's like 17 stages, and then there's art car stages and the beatbox stage and like Sonic Bloom.
Oh, Stereo Bloom.
Stereo Bloom. Yeah.
Okay, so Stereo Bloom is a majorly house stage. I digress. EDC. Each stage has its own genre. So like, if you want to go dick around in the like Wasteland, go dick around and dance some hard style for an hour, sure, great.
Yeah, and it's great because you can, like, if you're not vibing with the music, you can walk over to another stage and check something else out.
So especially if you don't have a lot of experience within EDM whatsoever, it's a great place for you to find what type of music you like, because then you'll just gravitate towards the stage that's playing your type of music, and then that's the rest is history. Like my first EDC, I spent a lot of time at Bass Pod and Stereo Bloom, and so that's where I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm really liking bass, drum and bass type stuff, but I also do really like house music. Then spent a lot of time in Neon Garden too, so I do like kind of more into techno-y stuff, but like,
and it's all just like that's the thing where back in the day, even before my time, they used to play EDM music was underground. It wasn't the mainstream that it is today, and so it used to be you would start the night at it's just one stage, right, and it would go house music, it would progress into progressive house, and then trance music, techno, and then it would go into drum and bass or psytrance, and
so
that
within one night you would get a culmination of many genres.
Correct. And that's how the scene was back then. You wouldn't have this like segregation based on genres, but now it's a little bit it's nice in that way where it's like you have the same vibe, the same community coming together, but it's also there's a little bit of pretentiousness, and there's a little bit of like genre what's the word, genre like tunneling, or like you're stuck in a certain type of genre, and you kind of hate on other genres.
It can be cliquey, and sometimes there are certain stereotypes and connotations that come with certain genres. Like house music is apparently super bro-y, and like ambient bass music is super wookie, and like if you listen to trance music, you're a frilly frou-frou human.
Frilly frou-frou.
Yes,
indeed.
or you may have green hair.
Yeah. It's okay.
But despite all these stereotypes happen everywhere. It's just listen to whatever the fuck you want to listen to.
Exactly.
That's it.
Like, and there's the beauty of the different types of music is there's different styles that work for the vibe at a certain time.
Yeah.
I feel like trance music, it's great, but I don't think it works for every single moment of my life.
No.
Like house music works great, but it's like I don't want to, like, if you listen to house all night and you're at the afters, do you really want to be listening to more house?
Yeah.
It's like I love people that are very open-minded towards new music, because you never know who's an expert in what field.
Yeah.
Like our good friend Nikki is
Drum and bass
queen.
Oh my god, I am not
She
worthy.
knows her genre. I'm a trance head. I know trance really well. I've also gone to like Desert Hearts and Dirty Bird, and like I've had my share where trance wasn't my number one, and it was like tech house, John Summit,
Yeah.
like people, like different vibes of my life where I think music hits you differently because you're in a different point of your life.
Yeah, and I listen to a totally different genre of music as well. Like God, happy hardstyle has my heart for
Yeah.
sure. But also like I'm not gonna hop in the car and listen to happy hardcore
At
like
like 7 in
hardstyle
the
music.
morning.
I'm not doing that. So it's like day to day I'm listening to like indie rock, like surf rock,
Yeah.
shoegaze, you know. But then when it comes to DJing and whatnot, I love like kind of happy bubble bass, happy like
Yeah.
bubble house music. But I also love like glitchcore, breakcore, a ton of different hyper pop. So that's what's cool about having your little rave family, because like Gucci has such a specific background in terms of what he DJs and what he listens to, and
And it's
so
changed.
does Nikki, and it all changes.
It's changed.
And we all influence each other, so then we all get an opportunity to listen to something that we wouldn't necessarily otherwise, which is great.
And that's the beauty of it, because like I think sharing music is one of the most beautiful things you can do in this world.
And experiencing new music.
And experiencing new music, because you know that new track that you hear might influence your life completely. And
yeah, because the music is certain timestamps. Like Gucci and I have several different songs that we've heard during times at Burning Man or EDC that we'll re-listen to, and we're like, remember
right
when
back.
you did XYZ? And like we'll listen to the song and reminisce on just all of the shenanigans.
And it just floods your memory banks, because that's how music really ingrains itself.
Yeah.
And like it creates those core memories.
Yeah.
And so working all those festivals and experiencing all these different types of music, it's also like what would you say your favorite, like if you could only go to one festival this year, what would you go to?
Oh,
I know, it's such a tough question, because we're going to go to all the festivals this year.
I'm trying, man. I'm a broke bitch, but I'm trying. That's what's so hard, because like I adored Envision because of all of the workshops. I did my first breathwork workshop. It was insane. I wish I would have had more time to do that. We'll have a whole episode on Envision and what that means. But like I love Envision for that aspect. But then like EDC is close to my heart because it was my first EDM festival, and also like within Gucci and I's cute little rave family, like we have a friend of ours that's graduating PA school, so then we want to revisit EDC together.
Give her a good, nice send-off for finishing
Congratulations,
that whole thing,
you did PA school. We love you, Tahira. But then just, I truly feel like, for me, Burning Man is such, like, cream of the crop.
Yeah,
in terms of
the
festivals.
granddaddy of all festivals.
Like, it's emotionally taxing, it's physically taxing, but it's some of the coolest shit you'll ever see. It's such a dreamlike space. The human interactions that you can have with people is so vast. The types of people you can meet is so vast. Anything can happen, and everything is happening all at the same time. It's overstimulating, but relatively easy to navigate. You grow such wonderful bonds with people. You grow a family. Like, it's such a blossoming community. And I hate the connotation that Burning Man isn't what it used to be 10 years ago. Yeah, it's not what it used to be 10 years ago.
It shouldn't be what it was 10 years ago. Everything needs to change or evolve, or else it dies.
Yeah.
And that's, and like that whole like, oh, Burning Man was better when it was underground. That whole ideology is, you're limiting yourself from experiencing what it is now, because you're just like, oh, I've done it. And that's fair. And like, and maybe your idea of Burning Man is a little pretentious.
Yeah, and that's that's exactly it. Like I hate when people say that, because there's a certain sense of ownership in that statement of, oh, I experienced that and you can't because it's already gone. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Anytime I talk about Burning Man with anyone, I'm like, just go. I don't know what the fuck your experience is going to be like. I don't know what you're going to get into. You may love it. You may have the worst time of your life and hate Burning Man for the rest of your life, but at least it's a far, far left field experience that you can have that can skew your perspective a little bit, and no matter what, you'll learn something from it, regardless if you love it or hate it or something in between.
Well, I feel like Burning Man is its own separate. It's not a festival ever.
It's not.
It's a community project. It's a community utopia,
Yeah.
and it's where you're sharing your passions, your love of whatever you love in the world with the playa. And going back to the original question, it's not Burning Man. What other festivals would
Not
you,
Burning Man?
Not Burning Man. Like,
favorite festival, or
if we could only do one festival.
if I could only do one festival this year?
Only do one festival.
Only one this year.
Oh yeah, shot same but different too. I keep remembering festivals I like.
If money were no object.
If money were no object.
What's the? I think it's Lost Lands.
Yeah, the one with the bass music and dinosaur sculptures.
It's in Ohio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Lost Lands. It's bass music. It's all dinosaur themed. Like
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest too, so like that would just be cool to like go back and go to a bass festival.
Yeah.
It just sounds like, especially with the dinosaur theme, it just sounds like silly and fun and just like we all love dinosaurs and bass music. Let's vibe, you know? It takes a specific type of person to want to be there, so it seems like it's a wonderful community to be a part of.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never been, but that would be cool.
Yeah, I've never been either, but I've seen like videos online and it looks like a riot. And I'm not even a big bass music fan, but I'll go just for the vibes.
Exactly.
Like it'll just like try something new kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing with time and place for music.
Yeah.
A lot of people will detest the idea of like, why would you go to a festival if you don't even listen to that music on a day-to-day basis? I detest that.
Yeah.
Because there's a time and place for things. Like I said, I'm not going to hop in the car and listen to hardstyle. I'm not going to hop in the car and listen to bass music. Bass music is a wonderful thing to experience at festivals. Or even we were out in the desert with a couple of homies just fire spinning on our own. Bass music is perfect for fire spinning.
Yeah,
exactly. There's a time and place for these things. Some people do love to hop in the car and listen to hardstyle. Just do whatever the fuck you want. Just do whatever you want. It should
just
not
really
matter.
be open to the possibility that you might become a basshead. Or like even with drum and bass. I remember the first time I came over to Nikki's place just to like hang out. She was like, "Do you like drum and bass music?" I'm like, "No, I don't like it."
I remember those days.
And that was me being like not knowing what drum and bass is, because my idea of drum and bass at the time was totally different than what it actually sounds like. I'm thinking like that hardcore jungle and
like jump up. Yeah.
But after spending time with my friend who's an expert in drum and bass, I'm like, oh, I like this. This is very similar. It's very melodic. There's vocals. There's like the stuff you play is great, you know? And so being open to it and being willing to just explore a new genre, and you're just going to find a wad of fucking music.
It's just like be open and don't yuck someone's yum.
Yeah.
If someone else likes something, let them have it. Because Gucci's been teaching me to DJ for the past couple of months and curating my stick, and
she's doing good.
I'm doing great. I'm doing the thing. But I've been learning mostly on Gucci's music, and it's different when you're curating your own set list. And I have my first ever DJ set coming up.
Yeah.
And so I've just had such a anxiety of, what if people don't like my music? What if it's like a total failure? But it's like, if people are gonna yuck my yum, don't come to my set.
Yeah. Go fuck off and go do something else with your life.
Yeah, but then also, like, I need to remember that, like, I want to be a person that attracts.
Correct.
And if I'm going to attract, then I need to play exactly what I want to play, exactly how I'm going to play it. And the wrong people will leave, and I'll be able to attract people that are also like-minded like me and that enjoy that type of music.
Correct. And it builds a community. It builds, like, when you're DJing, and I learned how to DJ during COVID, just because I was bored out of my mind. And we were partying during the quarantine parties at my friend's house. And I was spinning trance, because that's what I knew. And spinning more house music, and, like, just playing around and just fucking, like, learning how to beat match and transitions and all that. And, now I'm, 5 years into DJing, and I could set a set for Sunrise. I could set a drum and bass set. I could fucking play a groovy house set. could play disco house, I could play trance for sure.
Mhm.
And it's just it being a good DJ is mostly, in my opinion, playing what you want to play, playing nostalgia tunes to bring people in together. To you need to have something that people can relate to. Like that's why karaoke is fucking fantastic. Or and then also playing things that are hot at the time because that's always changing, and that kind of like I really don't want to harp on like artists in the community, but there's a lot of artists and DJs that get stuck up on, oh, I'm playing a set, so they have to listen to exactly what I want to play, and I'm not going to include anyone else's music. I'm just going to make it all about me, and I kind of don't like that ideology because it's just like the we're here to get lost in the music to see artists and DJs that we want to see, and I think it's really poignant to just play a good set, just throw a vibe down, and people are gonna vibe with it, or they can go to a different stage, and there's so many nuances to that,
Mhm.
and so many it's like ticky tacky or not like ticky tacky, but it's just like the vibe might have been thrown off by the DJ beforehand, and he might have played a really weird set,
Mhm.
and so you might have to fix the room.
Sure.
Or and there's a time and place with like openers and like right before the headliner and the headliner or the guy that plays after the headliner, like what kind of energy you bring
Mhm.
to keep that room going.
Yeah,
keep the
we'll
party
definitely
going.
have an entire episode on the ins and outs of
100%.
DJing. That's where I'm really excited to bring in guest stars too, because I
Mhm.
want to have other DJs come in and talk about like what they spin, where they spin, what type of people come in, certain experiences that they
Like
have.
producing and
Yeah.
like collaborative experience too, because that's really where like I think John Summit does a really great job of bringing in different communities, bringing different genres together. And certain like she's playing drum and bass. He's played bass music with subtronics. He's played trance tracks in his sets,
Totally.
and he also plays his own unique style of tech house that brings people together. And now he's just throwing his own shows now. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things you can do as a DJ because you may not get booked for a festival.
Totally.
You may not be like, and you're not. There's no guarantee you're gonna get booked year after year after year at the same festival because festivals want to switch it up. They don't want to bring the same exact people every year. And so I think there's a whole musical world, and we're all under the same umbrella of EDM, and we're all one big family really, and we like a certain type of music, and there's good music in every single fucking genre of music. Like sometimes some R&B classics are gonna slap. Sometimes you want to be a real ass G and fucking play Gangster's Paradise, and I really think that's like the nostalgia tunes or relatable tunes from other genres that you remix into a set really help pull people's memories from those other genres that they might have listened to before. So I don't know, it's just music and we fucking love it. I was just like I was like, I fucking love music, just screaming at the top of my runs, running like a fucking degenerate everywhere, and it's fun.
But yeah, let me return the question to you. If you could only do one festival that's not Burning Man this year, what would it be?
I think, and it's not even a festival I don't think I'm even going to go to this year, but I've been really wanting to do Electric Forest. I think that's something that's kind of been calling my name.
That's Michigan?
That's in Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes. That's
in the
run by
forest.
Insomniac in a big woods.
I didn't realize it was Insomniac.
Yeah, it's run by Insomniac.
Okay.
And so,
cute.
that one has its own culture with like they bring a great lineup because it's Insomniac, so it's house, drum and bass, like bass music. It's a conglomerate, but I love camping festivals because there's nothing like waking up in the morning and not having to worry about logistics. Like, oh, I gotta drive over to a festival. All you gotta do is get some food in your body, maybe take a shower, and see who you want to see, and like go see some workshops like yoga. Festivals that I'm probably gonna go to this year, that would not want to miss. I think it's gonna have to be LIB, Lightning in a Bottle. That one's up in Bakersfield, or Desert Hearts. But also Northern Nights. There's such a beautiful, like, California is literally the music festival capital of the world, I would say. we have such a variety in styles. I personally just love a camping festival because you wake up and you're there. There's also like so much, you get so much extra time on the ground. You're meeting your neighbors and you're like swapping stories or sharing food, and there's workshops, and I really do enjoy just that, like you're living among your community. I love that portion of camping festival, and it's also it's challenging you instead of you challenging you in different ways of pacing yourself and knowing your own body, because we were getting fucked up the night before, and you might want to just stay up all night, and then what, you're fucked if you want to sleep during the day and you're tense in the fucking sun, or I think it's really beautiful when you go to a camping festival and you have a group of friends and everyone's kind of building your little village of like, oh, we're gonna bring the grill, we're gonna bring the pink beer pong table, or like, I think that's a really special experience, or where you can bring like your little renegade, your little style, and set up some decks and play a morning set, or you could. I think there's so much more interaction from a camping festival, and I'm very blessed to be able to go to so many through the years, just because you network, you work. Like, that's the thing. When you get into the scene, you don't know anybody, but when you work up through the scene, you're personable, you talk to people. I think it's really beautiful that you're. I live at festivals. Like, when I'm at home, yeah, I'm home with my parents and stuff, and that's life, and I'll go out to bars and meet up with people that I've met at festivals. I'll be like, oh, you guys want to go play pool together?
Yeah, like we just ran into Corey.
Oh yeah, we just ran into Corey.
I met Corey out in Vision in Costa Rica, and we ran into him at a show in LA.
Yeah, and I ran into Twan at that same show.
And didn't you meet? You met Twan at the same show that we saw Corey, but then also
I met him in Tulum, and
then you met Maggie and Pachi.
I met Maggie and Pachi, some of my closest friends.
Internationally.
We met in Amsterdam on the beach at Luminosity, but they live in Irvine. And I'm like, and the funny story is I literally took photos of them at Spin nightclub, like 2 months before I even met them. Just snapping photos of people at the club. And then I come back to it, I'm just like, oh, what the fuck?
These are people that you would never meet otherwise that can really become lifelong friends.
Exactly. And you find you find your community, you find your village. We have like Christmas fucking parties every year. We celebrate our birthdays together. We build Burning Man camps together. We throw events now together. Lumi Cali is our big event in San Diego, where it's been 5 years of doing that, and I think that was something also where it showed us like we do this at Burning Man. Why don't we get some speakers, get a generator, and tell our friends we're partying here, and just throw an event. And from our first one was like maybe 30 people, and now it's grown into like 400 people.
Yeah,
and
it's just a snowball effect.
It's a snowball effect of people like, oh, they're doing something really cool. Oh, we don't want to miss that. And it's also grown from us collaborating with other collectives of down in San Diego, and I think that's really beautiful. Like and now we're the Transcensions dudes down in San Diego. We're like, oh yeah, we're running Spin now. You guys should take over our room. And it's that push and pull of and giving and taking of opportunities, and sharing our music, and just building that community is what's really special with Burning Man, with festivals. I'll go to a show and I'll be running into people I've met at this festival or this festival and this festival, and it's easy for people to remember me because I have green hair, but it's also like you just keep seeing the same people because we all love the same music, and we all love the community and the just epic moments that we can have. And it's wonderful because like I feel like if I went to a festival alone, and highly recommend this, going to a festival alone, I know I'm going to see like at least 5 to 10 people that I'm going to know and that I could hang out with for the first time at a festival. Where like the first festival I think I did solo was Envision back in 2019, and I got booked for them like a month out. Didn't know a single person going to this festival besides maybe one or two, but, you know, acquaintances. And now, like, when I go down to Costa Rica, I'm, like, running into, like, 5, 10, 20 people that I know, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice to have the option of, like, just being in a crowd and be like, oh, wait, I know you. Oh, do you want to kick it? And, like, oh, where are you going? What's your plan? Like, who are you trying to see tonight? And, you know, I think that's really freedom for me as a participant, as a photographer. Also, as a photographer, I'm wandering crowds all the time, trying to find those juicy moments to capture. And so people see me doing that. And I think I've built such a wide network because of how I operate in a rave space.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the community is.
We love communities.
The community is really expansive, needless to say. So yeah, with that being said, this podcast is called Bender Better.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your number one advice to Bender Better?
Number one advice. Just be a good person. Just be a good person. Think about how your actions affect the person next to you. And just try to make the space better everywhere you can go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't be a dickhead and, like, throw your trash on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up, walk over to the trash, and then come right back to the spot you're at. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
Or put it in your pocket until you have to go somewhere. Like, you know, I had this one guy growing up, he was, like, littering out the car window. He's like, yeah, litter, make a new job for someone. I'm just like, that's so fucking stupid, you know, that you're being disrespectful to our planet and to someone else's time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think number one, I would say, just think about how your actions affect someone else. Like, do the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them to do to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just don't be a dickhead, right?
Absolutely.
How about you?
To Bender Better,
Mm-hmm.
my biggest advice is know yourself.
Mm,
Just know
that's
yourself.
excellent.
If you know for yourself that you're in a crazy headspace and you want to fucking go, know how to do that properly without getting in other people's way or being toxic or damaging. Or me, I'm always baby. It's always put baby to bed. Like, I usually go to sleep a little earlier, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Know yourself. Know what you need in order to make sure that your weekend is a good one for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I make sure that I have earplugs. I make sure that I have, like, some type of white noise playlist downloaded in case I don't have service. So I have my AirPods too, because those are noise canceling. So I have options for myself. I have my sleeping mask.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when I sleep better with, like, hugging a pillow. So, like, there are times where it's like people are still partying. I'm nearby, but I'm just, like, locked in to go to sleep because I need sleep to function.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need less sleep. So it's just know yourself. Know your body.
So good.
Know your limits.
That's so good.
Yeah. That's my biggest advice to Bender Better.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yes, you know, I've definitely been there where I pushed my body too far and I've become not a nice person. You know, like, you become more of a dickhead. You're not yourself when you don't have that sleep. And so I've also, you know, pulled it back. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like the party's pretty much done. The vibes are fading and they're wavering. So why don't I just go to bed now? There will be always more parties.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a meteor coming tomorrow and you have to dance till there's no tomorrow.
Know when to call it. Know when to say no. Know when to sleep. Just know yourself. And also, like, when you know yourself that well and you can take care of yourself through the bender, it makes it so much easier to have fun and also take care of other people.
Correct.
And then you can focus on providing other experiences or making little magical moments, because then you're not focused on survival.
Yeah, no, and I think spatial awareness is a big one.
Oh my
as well.
God.
Spatial awareness is one of the key points of just, like, just knowing where you're at. Like, at Crossed this past 2 weeks ago, I was so spatially aware that I was cutting shapes, dancing through a crowd, spin move, dancing through the crowd, just like effortlessly, like nothing's touching me. I was so spatially aware and so in flow that I was able to maneuver through wherever I needed to, and it was really magical because I was just like, and then I'm like,
you were
standing,
having fun. You weren't in anyone's way.
Mhm.
Everyone's happy.
Exactly, and it was also interesting to see where, some people are squeezing by in the crowd and they're saying sorry, and I'm like, what are you sorry for? I really hate that whole using the word sorry because it's like one of those words that we use, oh, sorry for this, sorry for like minor inconvenience, but sorry's meant for like hardcore. I fucked up your car. I'm really sorry. It shouldn't be like, oh, sorry, I'm getting through. That's literally what we're all doing.
Mm-hmm.
You should say, pardon me, excuse-moi, excuse me. Like just make it silly and fun and be like a little, like, I'm always going to smile at you and be like, yeah, fuck yeah. Or just like, oh, move out of the way. I'm always trying to move out of people's way because, like, we've all been there trying to wiggle our way through a crowd, and nobody likes that. But once they're where they're at, it's all good.
Yeah, spatial awareness is so important on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even at the fucking grocery store, nothing pisses me off more when I have my cart, it's like all the way up against the aisle, I'm staying out of someone's way, I'm like looking up the ingredients on a
Mm-hmm.
recipe, I'm out of someone's way, and then someone bumps me from behind and I look, and like, their cart's in the middle of the aisle, their child is halfway down the aisle, their other child is like climbing on them, and just no spatial awareness of anything,
Yeah.
taking over the whole space. Just in general, have spatial awareness. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that hard to pay attention to your surroundings.
And it's a safety thing too.
Yeah, dude. Also, I was thinking about this. Gucci and I went to see Glitch Mob the other night,
Mhm.
and there was this guy that I swear was 7 feet tall. He had so much spatial awareness
He
of
really
his
did.
body and himself, because he knows that he's bigger. So the way that he was dancing, you would think, like, as a person that's tall, like, you wouldn't be dancing like this, but he was dancing with his arms up,
Yeah,
so that
really
he wasn't-
high.
Yeah, but like, I watched him. He was very conscious. Whenever he brought his elbows down, he brought them inward first and down.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's probably had the experience of bringing his elbow down and clocking someone.
Yeah.
He's probably had that experience.
This dude was so tall.
But like, to watch him do that, I was like, that guy has a spatial awareness. That's awesome. Because like, if you're hurting people, that's not fun.
Yeah,
you
nobody
know?
nobody wants that girl on the shoulders to fall on people behind her.
No.
It's dangerous.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope throughout this podcast we can share more and more tips and tricks.
And it's just like it's important to, like, when you have a festival, to like debrief, and like I think this is a perfect space for us to debrief from festivals, what we saw, what we did, because sometimes people will go their separate ways as soon as the festival's over, and they don't have that time to decompress, to really there's power in retelling us your experience, because it also reinforces your experience by having to tell it. It's like when you're teaching someone to do something, you're getting better at doing it.
Because it reinforces the knowledge that you have.
Correct.
If you're capable of teaching something, it means that you know it well.
Exactly. So yeah, with this podcast, I'm just fucking excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. We're just here to teach you guys. We're also here to learn.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna build a little community of better benders.
Better benderers.
Yeah.
This is Bender Better, to make sure
You
you are better at bendering.
exactly.
Amazing.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.